California Coffee Republic beer of the Craft Beer Republic collab with 14 Cannons beer. Nailed it.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Craft Beer Republic. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for drinking along. I am Greg, and I am being joined by the muscliest man in all of craft beer, and that, of course, is Flex. What's going on, Flexi?
Yeah, nothing much, man. Really excited for this episode. Really excited for the guest we have on today, and it's a man that you've had the pleasure of spending a little bit of time with lately. So, really psyched about this one.
I'm excited, too. We've had some late romantic nights. Oh, wait, different guest. We've been hanging out a lot, drinking a lot of beer, and talking a lot of beer.
Making a lot of beer.
Yes. We are also being joined by the head brewer of 14 Cannons out here in Westlake Village, California, Nic Bortolin. Nick, thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, nice to officially meet you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ditto.
We look for excuses to drag you on the show, and I think we have a pretty decent excuse. We'll talk about that in a couple of few. Yeah. Very excited for that. Before we get too far in, don't forget, find us at Craft Beer Republic. Find Flex at FlexMeABeer_in-between. You'll find 14 Cannons at, 14 Cannons, and Nick is the Nic Bortolin on the grams. Don't forget to find us. Also, if you're doing any shopping on Tavour, don't forget promo code UNFILTERED. Get yourself a few bucks back off your first order. All right. Because we have the nerdiest of all beer nerds that we know, instead of beer of the day, I think it's time for some beer science.
From a bottle, from a can, why don't people understand my inebriation? Beer! Oh. Beer science! Glass bottles, aluminum cans, hops and malts, and magic in my hand. We're drinking beer science!
I just thought about trying to hit that high note, and I don't think I could.
I think you could nail it. Anyways, today I am drinking from the very hands of Nick. It's 14 Cannons K17 Czech Dark Lager. It is 5%, and there's not much of a description on tap, so I figured I'd let the man himself go through a full description and tell us all about what I think is probably my favorite beer at 14 Cannons.
Yep, it's an ode to Prague and my time there. Living on Kryshikova Street, so shout out to Kryshikova.
Easy for you to say, yeah.
Yeah.
We could use some more European listeners.
Right, so K17 was my apartment number when I was lucky enough to study abroad and live in Prague. And that's where the whole kind of craft beer thing started for me. So I knew, like, one day when I get to open my own place, I want to have an ode to some weird Czech beers, and K17 is a result of that. The style in Prague is Tmavé pivo, for anyone that really wants to nerd out with me.
Yeah.
It looks like super dark and intimidating, like a stout. But Greg, you're drinking it now. It drinks kind of light and nice, like a, Eastern European dark lager.
Yeah, you get all the richness and goodness of a stout, but it's got that mouthfeel and that drinkability of something nice and crispy. Minus, I guess, the crispiness, but it just goes down so light. And you look at it, a lot of people are like, "Ooh, what is that? It must be big." Like, it's like 5-ish%.
Right.
You're safe. Have a couple of these bad boys.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing people are scared of when they see Czech dark lagers. Is they're like, "Wow, I'm not looking for something super heavy, so I'm going to pass on it." But after having quite a few myself, it's definitely a style I've been looking for more often.
After plenty of research.
Plenty of research, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I was first introduced to it, at least on a regular basis, by Integran's Nighthawk, which is also fantastic. And
fantastic. I've been lucky enough to have that thanks to you.
Oh. And then after this dropped in the tap room, I was like, oh, shit. So, the real question is, are you guys going to start canning this bad boy?
I'd like to someday. It's hard to find the audience in Southern California to, justify canning a super weird beer, meaning anything that's not an IPA. Right. I would love to. We do can 2 lagers year round, and this is a year round beer in the tap room. It uses our strain of Czech yeast, so it's super authentic. The same yeast that's in our Czech Pilsner. which is kind of how this came about. Was I have this Czech Pilsner, I'm spending a ton of money getting this yeast from Prague, and what can I do to justify like reusing it? And then that's when K17 got introduced as a year-round beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love to see it in cans. So never say never. We do have a kind of a fun drop for Oktoberfest this year. That's going to be another lager we've never released. That's another core beer that people have always asked us to release. So in the future, though, I'd love to see K17 in cans.
That would be amazing. I know I have this tendency to like all your beers that don't sell as well.
Yeah.
Like you had Liquid Gold on tap, which
Right.
was a coffee golden ale, right?
Yeah, it was the cream ale, coffee
Cream ale, yeah. Which was amazing. And every time we went in there, we had at least one or two of those. And then K17. But of course, everybody around here is like, oh, let me have the Tyrannocyte so I can strip some enamel off my teeth. And
Right.
it's like, but what about these other nicely crafted, easy to drink, delicious? And they're like, nope, give me the hops.
Yep.
So, I guess
pay
I'm
the
the weird
bills.
one. That's true.
That's where you got to
So-
find the balance within the trendy and the hoppy with the
right.
traditional, delicious, really appreciate the craft of what, beer actually is.
It's true. To talk about the yeast, and I was going to get into this. We should get into it. And cheap plug on March 10th over at 14 Cannons. Come out for a live show. Talk about more in a second. But you were talking about the yeast. We did the collab, the coffee collab. If you expect, you were talking just about the yeast that you brought in for that beer. I mean, you had like a German yeast reproduced in a lab, and so it'd be authentic.
Yeah, our lab sourced it from Cologne because we were making a Kölsch.
Right.
So
That's insane. I mean, that's like the pinnacle of beer nerd.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Probably not the cheapest way to go.
Yeah, but the results speak for themselves. So
Yeah, it's delicious. And I did get to try it before the coffee was added, and it is so good. Nice little hoppy finish at the end there.
yeah, the hops we use, I'm thrilled about, and we were talking about that on the brew day. I always wanted to use those. So nice little citrus German hop to be kind of to style and classic, and then we are messing it up with a ton of coffee.
But a ton of really good coffee, at least.
Yeah, locally roasted. And, Will, the roaster, roasted it, the day before we put it in the tank. So
Yeah.
I don't think it gets better than that when you're making a coffee beer.
No, that's pretty sweet. All right, so before we talk about that even more, let's talk about coming up this week, February 26th. I tried to get a can. You guys tricked me with your Instagram post. The Recchio Ship Triple IPA is dropping on Saturday with the big party, and there was a picture of a can on the gram. I was like, oh, maybe I'll come by and pick up a can. We'll have it on the show. I was like, it's not canned yet. Totally tricked me. Totally tricked you. But talk about what's going on this weekend for the release party.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to say it. Pliny Killer. This is our Pliny Killer. We make this once a year. It's younger season. I was actually lucky enough to get some younger today over at Ladyface.
Oh, nice.
So we took an extended lunch break, the whole brew crew, and went and had a nice 10.5%er at 11 a.m.
How long was the line?
We got there right when they opened, so it wasn't bad.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so we were lucky to have some younger. I do love that beer. So this is our ode to Pliny the Younger and our version of it at 14 Cannons. And I think it's going to stack up really well. So we're really excited for the release this Saturday. So many events going on with us, but we've been looking forward to this to a while. So yeah, we only make it once a year. It's 10.5% this year. It's 79 IBUs, but incredibly masked by the triple dry hopping we do.
Yeah. What kind of hops do you use in that?
It's Citra forward, and drinking Pliny the Younger this morning, I was really, really surprised that I think that's the most Citra I've tasted in Pliny. So that was kind of fun to see that they had similar aromas from the Citra. And then we use a lot of laurel, which is not a hop you see every day, but I think it's a great blending hop when you want to like accent, all the fun notes you get from Citra, like the pineapple and the papaya. And then it's super first wort bittered and bittered with machueca. I really like the bitterness from those New Zealand hops. So
yeah, big fan of the New Zealands. That sounds like a rad beer, man.
All right, so how do you say that hop?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, you.
I always say it as Motueka.
Yeah, I've heard Motueka, and then I had a hop sales rep one time say Machueca to me.
I haven't heard that one.
And so that was what the sales rep said. And so I was like, I think he probably knows better than I. He's selling it.
The last time I asked a brewer was down at Radiant in Anaheim. I was like, so how do you say it? He's like, I say Motueka. I was like, Well, you sound smart, so I'm going with it.
Right. I think unless you're indigenous, there's no correct way to say it.
That's true.
So-
We need some Kiwis to write in and tell us
right
how
on,
to say
man.
it.
What about Grogs? He should know, eh?
Oh yeah, exceptional
He's
Grog should
from
know. Hit us up,
Aussie, so-
please. You're neighbors to New Zealand. Let us know how should we be saying it. Let us know how stupid we sound up here in the States.
I'm sure ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
stupid.
Yeah,
So-
I need easy words like citra.
You're right. This I in mosaic is out of place. How do you say this? So confused. All right, so Recchio ship 10.5%. I did get to try a little out of the tank a couple weeks ago when we were brewing.
That was before, we'd cold crashed and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, no carbonation, no cold crash. It still looked like a haze boy. And even then though, it was so good. It was so much tropical fruit coming through at that point, which I'm sure was thanks in part to the Mo2, however you want to say it.
Right.
But it was so good. And most importantly, good Lord, did it hide that 10.5%.
Yeah. And I think one thing we do with this beer that's really fun, and I'll talk about it more at the event on Saturday at the can release, and we're giving brewery tours. And if people do show up, you'll be getting some of the Recchio ship straight from the tank. So that's kind of some incentive to show up.
Wow.
I think that's something the public doesn't get a lot, is to come back in the cellar and drink straight from the Bright tank. It's, how all brewers love to drink beer is just straight from the Bright. So I'm looking forward to sharing, some fresh beers off the Bright tank with everybody. But
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, but one thing we do with that is it's the only beer we make that we dry hop. The first dry hop happens during fermentation, which is not like anything, new or impressive, like technique wise, but it's the only beer that we do with that. And it's a lot of fun to see like the bio reaction with the hops and the yeast. Because traditionally, like most IPAs or West Coast IPAs, that is, get dry hopped after primary fermentation.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question. I know nothing about brewing beer. I just really like to drink it.
Sure.
So to
I
mask
know a lot about drinking it.
a 10.5% triple, is there something you do during the brew process that does that, or is that just something that you kind of put all your P's and Q's and X's and O's together, and it's supposed to play out that way?
It's definitely some recipe formulation, balancing the amount of sugar we use in the brew. We do add a little bit of sugar to get the ABV up there. And then the malt bill itself is kind of fun because we have a lot of Golden Promise in the malt bill, which is not like your average 2-row or Pilsner malt bill.
Correct.
And that gives it like a lovely, like biscuity kind of flavor and really, really golden color. And so having that is kind of one of the things that we use in that to mask the 10.5%. And then along with just making sure the bitterness can support that. If it's, I'm sure if you've had like a triple hazy that just like was way like alcoholic, and that's usually because, there's no bitterness in that. So there's nothing to mask it.
Okay, right on.
And then on the other end, we've had some, crazy stone beers that are only bitterness. So.
200 IBUs.
I mean, that's how I came up, like drinking down in San Diego, like 12 years ago, and just loving, I loved the IBU wars when I first started brewing.
Yeah.
Like, who can hurt each other more? That was a big part of being a brewer down in San Diego. And it's
Throw it
definitely
against the wall, see if it strips any paint
the
off.
complete opposite now is how little can we bitter an IPA.
That's funny. Yeah. The good old days of the hop wars.
Yeah.
Back when IBUs on a can actually meant something. Now it's like, oh, it's 20 IBUs. It doesn't mean anything.
No,
anymore.
it doesn't. Yeah, it really doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything anymore.
Not for an IPA, at least.
Right.
So, all right. So that's Recchio Ship. I recommend if you guys are in the area, you go check it out. That's cool that you guys can be pouring off the Bright tanks. That's
Yeah,
even
pouring
little.
off the tank.
I'm super jealous about
Yeah.
that. That's an outstanding feature.
Yeah, we're gonna have
nice.
some food trucks, which we normally don't do because we have the in-house kitchen. But I think we need some extra food to also help that 10.5%. Everyone's drinking to get a good base. So I'm stoked on the food trucks we got coming in as well.
Gotta soak it up.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is, and I actually didn't even write this down, but between now and our situation, you guys are doing a Pink Boots brew.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so busy. Yeah, we're doing a Pink Boots brew.
Clear your calendar.
You're kind of a big deal.
Oh man, I was telling Greg, it's only taken like 5 years for people to find us. On the 5th, it's a Saturday. Pink Boots brew. I'm very excited for this. This is the second time we've done it. We did it last year. And Pink Boots is a women's beer club. Our tasting room manager, Emily, is a member of it. And part of the proceeds from this beer and the hop blend are donated to Pink Boots, and they use it for scholarship opportunities for women in beer. So it's a great cause and just killer hop blend. Last year, the hop blend blew my mind. It was so aromatic. So we're going to do the same like IPA-ish recipe again this year. It's a new hop blend every year. It's a different blend. There's some experimental hops in this year's blend that I'm really excited to brew with that I've never gotten my hands on before. And the cool thing about this one is we're actually opening it up to the public. Last year it was kind of invite only. All the Pink Boots crowds, and we invited all our local breweries to send their staff. But this year we want the public to kind of come and see how the sausage is made a little bit. I think I get asked a lot, like if people can come shadow a brew day, and this felt like a great opportunity. We're hosting a brew event, so hopefully a lot of people from the public show up and get to learn about how we do our process, and then also check out this awesome new hop from YCH for Pink Boots.
Yeah, last year's was so good. My wife was part of the brew day, and it was so good. I mean, it didn't last very long either on tap.
No, it sold quick. So like I said, we'll do the same recipe again and see how this new hop speaks, and hopefully Goose gets some dog treats from your wife again this year. He loved those.
Oh, she's already got them ready. She needs to bag them and bring them over.
Yeah, the spent grain, man.
Yeah. We made some from the collab day, and I'm sure she'll snag some more on the Pink Boots day. She loves making our house smell like dog treats and peanut butter.
Yeah, that's an incredible idea of the shadow brew day, though, because again, like someone like myself who enjoys partaking and drinking of the beer, to be able to get a behind the scenes look on how everything's actually done, and I just think that's something that a lot of people would really, really enjoy.
Yeah, a lot of people, have never held the 4 raw ingredients, in their hands and seen them in action, and I always find it hilarious. Like most people just want to see inside a tank. Like most people want to peek their head in a fermenter and go, "What's going on in here?" So it's always fun. We open the fermenter up and we go, "Well, it's stainless, and look at that spray ball." Yeah, but the amount of people that love just sticking their heads in the fermenter, I always get a kick out of. So
stainless and it's clean, and here it is.
Yep.
Get your picture taken with your head in the kettle.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you from our collab day, I didn't realize how zen-like it is to rake all that grain out of the mash tun.
Is it heavy?
All the spent grain. It's just pulling it out, just raking it one little scoop at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it helps that we have rakes in the mash tun. It's a little less than like when there's no plow or rakes in there and you got to do it all by hand.
True, but it was like doing like one of those little sand garden things, like raking the sand, just like
the rock garden.
Relaxing. Yeah, this is surprisingly relaxing. So everybody take a turn at raking the grain out of the mash.
Absolutely, tun. I will let everyone do the manual labor for me.
Yeah. Nick's like, please.
Yeah.
All right, as if this doesn't already sound like one huge commercial for 14 Cannons, and I swear it wasn't meant to, but to make it even better, on March 10th, that is the big day. That is Thursday, March 10th. We are releasing, Nick is releasing our collab.
It's a we.
I was going to say, it's definitely a we.
Yeah. This is the Coffee Kölsch, the yet to be named. Please help
I was going to ask if you have a name yet.
We do not.
I came up with a bunch of really bad ones, so I'm hoping that people can contribute some good names for us. We still need to name it. Come on out. Thursday, March 10th, we're going to do a live podcast that evening. It's going to be Nick and I. We're going to have some potential other guests who we'll release once it's official. Obviously, we'll be tasting the beer. We're going to taste a couple other beers, maybe some coffee while we're there, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. And on a personal level, I'm very excited. It's the first live show we've done since the pandemic. So it's going to be nice to get out, set up a speaker, yell at some people, and drink some beer.
Hell yeah. Yell away.
Yeah. Flex, hop on a plane.
Yeah. Try my best.
Yeah. Get on out here. So
I wish.
If you aren't tired of hearing me talk about it for the last couple of weeks, March 10th, it's collab beer, Coffee Kölsch. Come out, hang out with us, drink some beer, have a good time. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Enough said.
Send us your names. We need a name. Time's running out for names.
Please.
How does coffee meet pirates, right?
Yeah.
That's the big problem, right?
Yeah. And the even harder part was trying to work Republic into the name because California Coffee Republic is also part of it. So it makes sense. Let's get Republic in there. But at the same time, it's like, shit, how do I keep it pirate or nautical themed and Republic? And It's been a challenge, and I'm not that creative, apparently. That's what I've learned. So anyway, send us your names, tweet us, DM us, whatever it is you guys do. Call us, leave us a voicemail with some names. We would appreciate the help. All right, that is a lot. Nick, what are you drinking over there?
I am drinking a Green Cheek Yuzu for Papa.
Is that tea?
A tart and salty wheat beer with fresh California yuzu. And that's exactly what it is. It is tart. It is salty. It's very refreshing. It works. Green Cheek, man. They do weird, great stuff.
They do weird, great stuff.
Yuzu fruit in beer is awesome, by the way.
Yeah. It is. I didn't even look at it. It's 4.5%. So
all right, so it's light.
Yeah, so I'm keeping it level. Like, haven't had dinner yet.
Makes sense. It's good, like Sunday football beer. You could drink a lot of them.
I don't know if I could drink a lot. There's a lot of salt in here.
From an ABV standpoint, you can drink a lot of them. You're just getting your electrolytes in. Come on,
right?
There we go. Yeah, it'll pay off in the morning.
A little yuzu weed, a little water on the side, a little yuzu weed.
Right.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Speaking of football, everybody watched the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Last week,
Brands, man. They're our local team, right?
Here's the thing. I don't care.
Does LA, like, now that they've won, are we going to accept them as our local team and the Chargers are just fucked? Like,
I mean, the Chargers have always been fucked.
Yeah.
like San Diego, as soon as they left San Diego's like, fuck you guys. And they came up here like, who are you again?
Right.
So they're fucked. Rams, people keep asking me like, you're from LA, you're born and raised, blah, blah, blah. Why aren't you a Rams fan? Because those fuckers left me when I was 5.
There you go.
You know, and I can't
Raiders.
stop calling them the St. Louis Rams. I cannot refer to them as the LA Rams. I'll never be able to do it. Never.
It doesn't feel right. Yeah.
No, it really doesn't at all.
Maybe we could do it like the Angels, the St. Louis Rams of LA or something like that.
Now you're onto something.
Currently Long Beach, relocating to.
Now you gotta take that creativity and put it into your beer name.
The Republic Beer of West
California Coffee Republic, beer of the Craft Beer Republic, collab with 14 Cannons beer.
Nailed it.
The Angels love it. It's gonna be their stadium now.
Right. They just got more PR than they have in years.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Rams. They whatever. If I have to hear someone else say whose house, I'm probably gonna punch him in the face. Now, just to piss people off, I say Chargers house. No, they didn't build the stadium. Like, no, they're the smart ones. They pay no rent. So,
touche.
Suck on that, Rams.
I do want to go check out the stadium. It looks amazing.
It looks awesome.
That.
Yeah. I want to go see a concert there.
Right. Let's go see a show.
Yeah. See, I think Paul McCartney's coming out there soon. Let's go see that, or maybe when the Niners are in town.
That would be epic.
But yeah, no Rams for me. So, but Super Bowl was good. I don't know about you guys. I was a big hip hop fan in high school. I mean, I still like the old school stuff, but the halftime show was top notch
awesome.
for me.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't find anybody 40 and younger that didn't think it was top notch.
That was amazing.
You know, it's when you start seeing the people with the light colored blue jeans and the New Balance shoes. You know,
the Costco sneakers.
Yeah. They're the ones that were like worst halftime show ever.
Yeah.
The best meme I saw was if you're super stoked for the halftime show, it's time to go schedule your colonoscopy.
Ouch.
I was like, damn it. How dare you?
It's a little personal. I mean, they're right, but dang it.
Yeah, low blow or behind blow. I don't know. So anyways, but good times. And then finally I want to mention, if you guys haven't checked out our shop lately, here's another commercial. Go to crappyrepublic.com, check out the shop. We got some new designs in there, including the all-new athletic department design. So go check that out.
Super rad designs, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Ludicrous libation laws. This one comes to us from Connecticut. Apparently, it is illegal to buy any alcohol after 9 p.m.
Okay, I have a big question about this one.
Okay. I probably don't have the answer.
So you say any alcohol.
Any alcohol.
So I can relate to this because in Wisconsin, it's the same law. You cannot buy any alcohol after 9 p.m. from a grocery store, liquor store, convenience store, etc. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a bar or a brewery, you can still purchase alcohol after 9 p.m., but you are not able to do. It's the same law here. So
it's only takeaway.
Correct.
Sales.
Correct.
Okay. What I read did not specify that, and I just thought, wow, how boring if you have a late dinner and you can't drink.
Yeah. Right. But
I mean,
so
either
maybe it
way.
is just takeaway sales. But
I'm not visiting. That's all I know. There go my travel plans.
Nick's got a map down there. He's like, we're crossing that
Yeah,
off.
nope.
Fuck you, Connecticut. That's too bad.
so is there a rule over in California for that or no?
I think after 2, you can't buy alcohol between like 2 and 6, 2 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Oh, okay. Those are the
Maybe.
dark hours. All right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That,
Does that sound reasonable?
I mean, I know I get cut off at 2, but
Right. One time I was a little tipsy, so maybe that's why. But one time I walked into like a 7-Eleven and tried to buy alcohol at like 2:15. They're like, nope, stops at 2. So I just assumed that meant like 2 o'clock you can't buy any more booze.
Interesting.
I don't know. Anybody who works at a convenience store or anything, let us know, please.
Or maybe the intern can fill us in.
Yeah,
He's got to
a
know
lawyer.
some laws, right?
Intern Brian, please
Come
let
on.
us know.
Let's go, Brian.
Yeah. So anyways, there's that. Don't go to Connecticut. I mean, wait, Connecticut.
What is
before
actually in Connecticut? Can we just stop here for a second? Aside from shitty laws, what is
I
going
guess
to make
shitty
you?
laws and foliage, right? That's
Yeah,
Right.
what's
Yeah.
going to make you go out to Connecticut? Come on.
And I guess based on their laws, a bunch of day drunks.
Yeah, well, I guess they do have that going for them.
Yeah, which
I
not the
am a
worst.
fan of day drinking.
Yeah. You know, we didn't talk about this a minute ago in one of our one of our previous commercials, but speaking of you drinking that Green Cheek beer, I don't want to not mention this. I'm sure we'll mention it like 10 more times between now and then.
Right.
But you're going to party with Green Cheek.
We are at 14 Cannons. We're hosting our first beer festival in May 21st. We have a lot of amazing Orange County and LA breweries coming up that are on the Beer Gang platform with us. And Green Cheek is coming up, Rip's coming up, Bearded Tang's coming up. A lot of awesome Orange County and LA breweries, Long Beach Beer Lab. So May 21st, follow 14 Cannons and you'll start seeing us post about it in the coming weeks and get your tickets. And it should just be a wild time in Westlake.
Hell yeah. Westlake's never seen a wild time before.
No, we're going to show them. Yeah,
Yeah. For those of you who
sounds like a
aren't from-
super big deal for you guys, though.
it is. Yeah, our
It's
first
like-
beer festival. We're trying to make it our first annual beer festival. I'm already getting bands lined up for it. So it should be a great party.
Damn, that's awesome.
Nice.
2022, the year of 14 Cannons, baby.
You're coming
Hell
back.
yeah. I like what you said earlier. It only took 5 years.
Right.
You know, I was looking up our history on the show today before we started, and our first interview that you and I did, Nick, aired on February 27th. Was posted February 27, 2018. So basically 4 years ago,
Okay.
almost to the day.
Nice.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit, that feels like that was forever ago. In a good
It
way.
does. Yeah.
I mean, you guys are a staple in Westlake now, and one of the few remaining in Westlake now as well. So
Happy
glad
to be
for
here.
that. Yeah. Happy to still be here.
Yeah.
All right, very good. A little bit of news. Modern Times. This is huge news. It's been going around for the last about a week or so. Modern Times closed their Portland, Oakland, Santa Barbara, and Los Angeles locations, leaving basically their San Diego and I believe Anaheim locations open, citing financial issues due to the pandemic. And they've posted blog posts about this, talking about all the financial hardships of the pandemic, which I'm sure is 100% true. But at the same time, Modern Times, let's not forget, almost a year ago, you got called out for some pretty shitty stuff, and it took a long time to respond in a positive way. And I just have to feel that this sort of thing is at least partially responsible.
I would say it's 100% partially responsible.
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It seems like it has the timing and everything. And also they got new leadership, the original founder / CEO.
But
stepped
again,
down.
it took them how long to get that done?
Months and months.
You know?
Well, and how silly that they had to be called out for really horrible things before making their place not a horrible place to work. So,
Absolutely.
Oscar Blues is closing their Boulder tap room, and they did it real quietly without really saying anything and weren't returning calls for comment. As we know, they got bought out
Yeah, I was
about a
just gonna
month
say
ago
that.
by Canarchy, and I guess they're making some changes around there.
I had not heard this.
Oh, just the one tap room, Boulder tap room,
Wow.
nothing else, I guess. So sad to see that go. A lot of people have been I say asking me as if like I'm an expert, but we've been having discussions lately. That's a better way to put it, about all these closures. There's been some local closures, Modern Times, Oscar Blues getting bought out, that sort of thing. And I guess my question for you, Nick, is, are we seeing some sort of reckoning in the craft beer world? Like, is it finally getting to a point where maybe there was a little too much?
I don't think too much. It's hard to say. The pandemic was obviously, hard to navigate. The one thing with all the different Modern Times locations that I think have in common is I don't think they had big outdoor spaces. Like,
True.
I know the Dojo in downtown LA had 0 outside seating.
Yeah.
And the last 2 years, like, we've had to build a huge patio, front and back, to be able to accommodate people sitting outside. And so I noticed that in common with the Modern Times stuff. Like, their Anaheim location has an amazing outdoor space, and that location's staying open.
Yeah.
So I think that,
Don't they have a pool?
they do have a pool.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to get COVID anywhere, I want it to be in the pool at Modern
Right.
Times. Like, that sounds like a party.
Yeah.
Pool at a brewery. It looks awesome. I've been, but I've not been in the pool. So it's hard to swim with a mask on, I think. But we won't.
That's true. Yeah.
We won't Joe Rogan this podcast.
Please
But
don't.
but yeah, I'm sad to see the Dojo go in LA. That was, I think, a staple of LA craft beer the past 4 or 5 years. They put out a lot of good liquid out of there, cool stuff.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to see if any breweries acquire these closed ones. I think that's what I'm looking out for. Not as much as a reckoning, like you said, but to see if anyone pivots and gets some cheap real estate. Good way to get a brewing system that's already installed and ready to go. So
Yeah,
a big
a
player
nice
wants to
brewing
come in,
system.
yeah. Like the Portland Modern Times I'd been to, and that was a previous brewery, the Commons, I think, and that was amazing. We like to visit Portland often. There's plenty of beer there.
Yeah, there is.
And I did think it was weird too, though. Like, that was a full-on production facility, and to have it on the same coast as your production facility in San Diego didn't make much sense to me at the time. So maybe it didn't make sense financially to justify having 2 giant production facilities on the same coast. You see like Stone in Virginia and all the guys that went east to North Carolina and stuff like that. And then Modern Times did the opposite, and they're like, we'll just go to Portland because it's hip and
Right.
hipsters.
They're the definition of hipsters, that's
Right.
for sure.
So it didn't really help, I don't think, like with their shipping across the country or anything like that.
Yeah, and I wonder also if it was too much too soon. I mean, boy, did they just explode. And I can't imagine they weren't taking out huge loans for that sort of thing. I mean, there's not that kind of money in their bank accounts, I would imagine.
Yeah, that growth phase was dizzying, watching all these new spots open.
Yeah. Like, all of a sudden, like, oh, we got downtown, we got Santa Barbara, and, just kept popping up Oakland everywhere. It was insane. So I imagine that just couldn't sustain itself to at least some extent, and then throw the pandemic in there and it gets
right.
even
And then when you
crazier.
got to pay rent and you can't have customers in there.
Right, exactly. Thanks to the big boys, AB and Molson, U.S. beer drinkers are overpaying for their beer by $500 million a year. And this is according to the Treasury Department. The White House asked for a study into, and Nick will have some insight into this, into the alcohol industry, and more specifically into the distribution of alcohol. And turns out that AB and Molson are really holding a monopoly on not only the distribution, but as well as the laws that regulate it. And it's causing us, the beer drinkers, lots of money every year. It's not easy to get beer out in the world, is it?
It's the hardest part of operating a brewery. There's no money in making beer. All the money is in selling beer. So
Sure.
I always look at Stone, and I think for a while, and I don't know if this is still true, but their distribution company used to make way more money than Stone Brewery made. So like the
That's
Stone
not terribly
brand,
surprising.
was not as financially successful as their distribution company.
Interesting.
So I think there's just way more money, with all these strange liquor laws and, mob laws in some of the states. Like mafia stuff is a lot of liquor distributors can be tied back to the mob and the mafia. Like, selling beer in Nevada is insane because, the mob owned all the casinos, and
oh, sure.
And you had to go through their cousin Jimmy, who owned the distribution company, to get your shitty Bud Light
Right.
while you're walking down the strip.
Old Jimmy Two Toes with his distribution company. Yeah. Well, then like, what is it? In Alaska, you can like breweries can only serve like 32 ounces a day. I mean, there's all kinds of weird antiquated laws.
What?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. California is the most lax, and that's why we opened a brewery in California. We're allowed to self-distribute. And for most of the country, that's not legal.
No.
You know, a lot of other states, even if you have 2 brewery locations, you have to sell your beer to a distributor and buy it back at a higher price to get it to your second location.
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
That's how backwards like beer laws are in a lot of other states. California, though, lets us self-distribute. So I can put a keg in a van and drive a 10 bar restaurant I want and say, all right, give me money, please.
Right.
And that's just not legal in most of the country, unfortunately.
And it seems like the more east of the country you go, the more crazy the laws get.
Definitely.
Like the older states just didn't jump on board. But I know a lot of them really started around like Prohibition. Like as Prohibition was ending, Budweiser and those larger breweries were jumping on these laws and kind of making them work for them to squeeze out the smaller guys. And I've always considered doing like a history podcast because it's really interesting, the laws that got put in place and why they're in place. But I won't nerd out tonight. I'll save everybody that yawn. Everybody, before you're about to tweet, just don't. Threes Brewing Company, their CEO, and I'm not going to read the tweets, but was commenting against the vaccine mandates and comparing the mandates to Nazi Germany. And if you want to find them, just go to Don't Drink Beer. They've got all the tweets. But also, I'll just say this: no matter how you feel about the vaccines, there's no quicker way to alienate at least half your customer base than tweeting stupid shit like that. Beyond the whole like racist part of the Nazi Germany side of things.
But you're 100% accurate on this.
Yeah, idiots. And I'll leave it with this one on a happy note. 2 drunk sisters take off their clothes and fight at Disney World. 2 sisters got fantastically drunk at Disney World and got into a fight, but not without first taking their clothes off. 29-year-old and a 31-year-old woman had been visiting with their family on vacation in Orlando, Florida, when they decided to drop by Disney Springs. The pair managed to get incredibly smashed somewhere between dinner at a steakhouse and grabbing a few drinks at an Irish restaurant, with things coming to a head as they attempted to get back to an Uber, or to get in an Uber and get back to the hotel. According to the police report, the whole thing went something like this. The elder sister accused the younger sister of being a bad mom. The elder sister punctuated this statement with a slap to the face. The younger sister threatened a physical response and returned. Then everything ended when security had to pull them off of each other as they got into an all-out brawl, sans clothing. When they stripped throughout this process isn't clear. And to put the cherry on top, the younger sister threw up at one point, causing the older one to slip and fall into a nearby bush after stepping in said throw up.
Well, Greg, it's Disney, right? That's
true.
That's where the magic happens.
It is definitely
plain and simple.
Definitely where the magic happens. I wonder if they were staying at the same dick hotel that you stayed at, Flicks.
Oh gosh, I hope not.
I hope not. Nick, have you heard of this?
I have not, but I'm ready to go to the happiest place on earth. Check it out.
There is a hotel at Disney World where all the decor at the pool is very phallic, shall we say. It is very strange.
They're ginormous too.
That too. I don't know.
That's like a whole new hidden Mickey thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Except these are very hidden. I'm pretty sure you could see them from space.
It's a whole new world, that's for sure. Oh gosh. I think we should end it there. I think that's everything. Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for all the free press.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely thank you.
Come hang out with us on March 10th for a live podcast. I believe 7 p.m. is the start time. Come have some good beer, some good coffee, and see what else we're doing, and help us shake off the cobwebs. It'll be the first live show that I've done in quite some time.
Just remember, pandemic. Greg, words.
Yeah, that's my worst trait. So, anyways, I'm gonna hit some music. I'm gonna say hi to Vanessa as I hit.
Hi, Vanessa.
I'm gonna tell everybody, go follow at 14 Cannons across the board on the socials. Go to at Craft Beer Republic and at Flex Me a Beer on the gram, _ in between. Of course, you can find us at craftbeerrepublic.com. 805-538-BEER. It's 2337. And do not forget, we need some beer names. It's a Coffee Kölsch. There's a lot of Republics involved and maybe some nautical theming. So please do us a favor and help us name this beer. In the meantime, I hope everyone is staying very well hydrated.
And on that note,
Good night, everybody.